In my last video, I talked about how to set goals for the new year and how to create a plan to successfully fulfill those goals in order to become more in line with your ideal self. I'll link that video below. If you want to learn strategies about how to organize that plan, how to organize your year in a way that will work for you, then this is the video to watch, so stay tuned. Hi YouTube, I'm Autumn Beckman. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. On this channel, we talk about luxury living on a budget. One of the great luxuries in this busy world is being able to figure out how to keep yourself organized and on track to reach your goals. In this video, I will share strategies, formats, supplies that you can use to do that, and I'll show you my planners and show you some examples of how I've used those strategies and supplies in a way that works for me. Actually, multiple ways that work for me. So I hope that you find something in this video that works well for you. And if you are interested in videos like this or videos on luxury handbags and accessories, which is the bulk of my channel, then make sure you are subscribed. Click that red button down below and also click the bell so you're notified when I post a new video and you don't miss anything. I want to give a little warning to you up front, especially if you are someone who is not, or you feel like you're not very organized and you're not a planner. I'm going to throw a lot of information at you here. Try not to feel overwhelmed. Remember that you're going to pick and choose what works for you. That's the whole point of this. And also keep in mind that setting up your plan to reach whatever goal it is in the way that I'm describing this, it is time consuming up front. But once you have that work done, then you'll have a planner that is set up in a way that works for you, in a way that you're going to want to go back to, refer to, keep working with, review, plan for the future. The point is to get something up front that will work for you for the rest of the year. So it will be worth your time and effort. Okay, let's start by talking about strategies. The very first thing that I do when I'm starting on a new goal or starting a new project or whatever you may use these planning ideas for, I start by brainstorming all of the things that I need to organize. In my last video, I used the example of having a goal of losing weight, so I'm going to continue with that. Had a lot of experience working on that goal. So I like to start by brainstorming and then organizing those ideas into an outline so that I have it in order. Sometimes I do that digitally. Sometimes I use sticky notes and write ideas out and then put them maybe on a table and move them around until they're in the order I want them to be, an order that makes sense for me. So if your goal is to lose weight, you may have sticky notes or brainstorm ideas that are meal planning, exercise tracker, weight loss tracker, a calendar with goals, or with events that are coming up that might be challenging, like a birthday party or a wedding where you don't get to choose what you're eating. You might have a list of apps that could help you, like a Weight Watchers app or an exercise app. You might have a list of YouTube videos that have been really helpful, or YouTube channels that have recipes that you love. You might have a section in your planner for some of your favorite recipes. You might have ideas for snacks. You might have a list of some of the challenges that you know you're going to face because you faced them before and what to do in those challenges. These are just some of the ideas that you might want to brainstorm right up front. So each of these might be a different page in your planner. And then you would take that digital outline or the sticky notes or whatever method you use that works for you, arrange it in an order that makes sense, and then from each of those headlines, you can flush it out. So under recipes, maybe you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Maybe you have a reward section. What kinds of things do you want to be rewarded for? What kinds of rewards will you have? Flesh all that out. And like I said in my previous video, you don't have to start this from scratch. Other people have gone through these same goals, these journeys. So go to YouTube or whatever other resource you may find. If it's overwhelming to start from scratch, to start with a blank slate, see what other people have done. Start making notes. That'll get you started, and then it'll trigger ideas from your brain to add to the information that you're collecting from other places. And other people have templates that they've made, trackers that you can download or that you could recreate. Remember, you don't have to follow someone else's plan. You are picking and choosing to create a plan that works for you. You also don't have to use just one method or strategy throughout this journey or across multiple journeys. For me, let's say I have a weight loss goal. I can use several different strategies within that weight loss planner, or if I just pick one, one, then maybe I also have financial goals. I don't have to use the same strategies. I can pick whatever works for that. And I can have one strategy or multiple strategies in each of those. Something that I have found that works really well for me is that if I do have multiple things that I'm organizing, work projects, weight loss, financial goals, YouTube. It works best for me not to have all of that in one place. For me, it works best to have them each in different places. But ultimately, for one project, let's say the weight loss again, you want to have all of that information in one place. So you can refer to it, you don't have to search for things, you won't forget things. It'll make it easier for you to follow, to make updates, to review, to reflect on your progress, and to continue working on it. Ultimately, that makes it easier for you to be successful in reaching your goal. I'm going to show you some of the final formats of different plans that I have. Some people like to work digitally and keep everything digitally. So maybe their computer, on their phone, on an iPad. I do use digital resources. For example, I have an outline typed up in Microsoft Word for this video that I'm referring to right now. But when I have a bigger project, I need everything to be on paper. I'm a paper person. So I have multiple planners. So think about what would work best for you there. Would you be better with digital or with a paper planner? I also will often, even when I have a paper planner, I'll start with my outline, my notes, get that organized digitally, but then I will copy those pieces into a paper planner. And in my next video, I'll show you in detail an example of how I did exactly that. Before you get a planner to put your information in, to put your plan in, you need to figure out what kind of system might work best for you. So you may want a bound planner, one that you can't move the pages around. Here's a planner from the paper source. And this is just a calendar. It has month on 2 pages. It has the week on 2 pages in a list format, vertical, some are horizontal layouts. This might work for what you need for a particular goal. This planner from Erin Condren is also a bound planner. So again, you can't move the pages around. This is also a calendar format. It has month on 2 pages, week on 2 pages, and it also has some quotes. It has note pages, and it has a dot grid page, and then some other somewhat formatted pages. You also want to figure out what size you need, because you can get things that are really small, really big, so you figure out, again, what works for you. So those are bound planners, but maybe you feel like you're going to need to move pages around. Kind of like when you're sorting your outline and moving things around in your outline, you may need to add pages in because you didn't think about something right up front when you were planning. In that case, you may want a binder system, like these kinds of planners. This one happens to be Louis Vuitton, but there are a ton of other ones, and I'll show you some of those. So this has a ring system where you can open the rings, put pages in and out, just like a binder, and that can be very helpful. Similar to that, Happy Planner has planners in different sizes that are ring bound. So you can, each of these pages has a cut on the side where you can pull the pages out, you can pop them back in, you can take them out and rearrange them, you can remove pages, you can add pages. Again, very helpful. So with those, you're basically creating your own format. It gives you a lot more wiggle room. You also need to figure out what kinds of pages do you want. Do you want blank pages, lined pages, a dot grid, a grid? Do you want pages that are pre-formatted? So if one of your goals is to write down what you're grateful for every day, like focus on more positive things in your life, you might want one of these pre-formatted gratitude journals. So this one I got in a subscription box, but the pages already have on them what you're supposed to do. So weekly reflections, daily gratitude tracker. It has each day. This week I'm especially thankful for. Highlights of the week I'm looking forward to. There are all kinds of things like this on the market. So do you want to come up with your own plan from scratch that's totally customized to you, or do you want to use someone else's plan at least to get started? Once you have that outline in place or the headlines for different pages, then within that you can organize information any way you want. I tend with just about everything to start with lists, whether I'm typing those digitally or I have list pads on my desk where I can just write things down and then organize them from there and transfer them to the planner. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I'll write directly in the planner and make notes. Outlines, again, I find very helpful to keep information organized and in order. I'm big on writing things out, but a lot of people like to use visuals too, and I do some of that as well. So you could use Venn diagrams, that's where you have the circles that overlap. You could use drawings, you could use collage, you could use other people's imagery, like cut out things from magazines. Maybe you're making a vision board as part of your journal for your motivation. Cut things out, paste those in your journal. Maybe you're using charts. If you're tracking something, your progress, numbers. Sometimes you end up with pages where you have multiple information and you need to sort that somehow, or at least indicate that these different pieces of information are parts of different categories. So maybe you want to color code information. You might want to highlight things that are part of the same category. Maybe you're doing expenses and food expenses are yellow, handbag expenses are green, or you might want to put little symbols next to them. Here's an example from one of my planners. When I'm expecting a package, I draw a little envelope and then I write what the package is that I'm expecting, and then I don't have to write out package expected. I just know that that's what that symbol means. You can do spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. I'm one of those people. And you can use trackers. I use those a lot and they come in different formats. And you can make up your own formats. You can track data, you can track tasks, you can track things that you're doing each day, like how many glasses of water you're drinking. You can track your progress along the whole goal, your progress saving something or losing weight, whatever it may be. And trackers like that, tracking your progress, can be very helpful as far as motivation and keeping you feeling positive about how far you've come. Even if you've had setbacks, you've still made some progress. It can be very helpful to see that visually. Now I'll show you some of the supplies that I use. I have a ton of them because I've been doing all this organization stuff for many years. You do not need all these supplies, so just figure out what works for you. You probably already have a lot of this at home. So again, I always have a list pad on my desk. I always have a notebook. I always carry a notebook in my purse. Anytime I have an idea, I have a place to write it down. And of course, I always carry a pen too. I always have sticky notes on hand. I keep them in this box, and currently it is overflowing because I've added to it recently. I have sticky notes in different sizes, so the regular square size. I have these black ones with a white or silver pen. I have these fun penguin and polar bear ones that I got recently in a subscription box. I have little square ones. These are the ones I use the most. I'll show you an example shortly. These were a recent acquisition. They are sticky notes. I'll link them below. They're lined and they're bigger. So I have a list pad that is sticky and I can make my list and stick it in my journal. Very helpful. Another recent acquisition, these tabs by Avery. If you need some tabs like little dividers, I highly recommend these. I will link them below and I'll show you in a second how I've used them. They are very sturdy. They're not like flimsy. They're not paper where they're going to be destroyed by the end of the year. And then I have sticky notes in lots of other sizes too. I use those sticky notes to make notes and put them in places. I use them as page markers. I've used them before for color coding. I've also found it helpful to have colored pens or colored markers. I love these Stabilo markers. I'll link those below. Those are great for color coding, and the system that I have found that works best for me is just a fancy, like a pretty pen that's black ink and then these gold pens. And I love the gold so much that I asked for a box of these for Christmas a couple years ago. So I have a whole stash of them when I run out, and I'll show you how I use that. Despite it seeming or being factual that I have so much planning stuff, I actually work with a pretty simple planning system. I have a lot of planners, but I really mostly just use black and gold. I don't do a lot of color coding myself. I don't do a lot of decorating in my planners. I've tried that before. That does not work for me. I've also found it very helpful to have correction tape. I find when you're doing a plan, especially when it's a long-term plan, it's very helpful to have different kinds of calendars within your plan. You may want to have a little calendar at a glance, like a year at a glance or a month at a glance, or a big calendar like a month on 2 pages. You can use those for a variety of things. Like in my financial planner, I have a little calendar that's a year at a glance like that with all my paydays circled. And I can refer back to that for other things that I need to do in my planner that involve my paydays. Or in a bigger planner, I can mark when my YouTube videos are going to be, or important events, or when I want to check in with my plan, review it, plan for more things. I have tried using stickers in my planners before. Like I said, I've tried making those beautiful planners that you see people do on YouTube. You know, each week or each day it has washi tape and stickers and different colored markers, and they're gorgeous. That does not work for me, but I have found some stickers that work. I have some of my favorite stickers in this little clear plastic pencil pouch that I got a few years ago from Office Depot. I won't be able to link this because I'm not going to be able to find it again, but I have found that it really helped me to have a clear pouch where I could see what stickers I have. So that's how to organize your stickers. I have found it helpful to have some little money stickers. I got both of these on Etsy, and if I can find those again, I'll link them below. These are little money stickers, and then these are skunks with money, which are so cute. And I use those to track paydays. I've also found these helpful in the past, just the little colored dots. You could use these for color coding, or on my work calendar. At school, we have a different schedule every other day. Some days are blue days, some are green days. So I'd put a blue sticker on the blue day, green sticker on the green day, and that would help me remember what day it was. So ultimately, the only stickers I have found really helpful are the ones that have a purpose, like marking paydays, marking color-coded days. I used to have little stickers that were envelopes to mark when I was receiving packages, but then I started just drawing the envelope like I showed you. It might help you to have stickers that are a scale to track your weight once a week, or stickers to indicate when you'll get a reward. A lot of people use washi tape. I have a ton of washi tape and I hardly ever use it. If you don't know about washi tape, it's just decorative tape, but the great thing about it is that it is removable and reusable. So you could stick this down as decoration, you don't like it, you pull it back up, or you can use it as tape to attach one piece of paper to another piece of paper, but in a more decorative way. Sometimes I also use double-sided tape for that purpose if I don't want the tape showing, or if I'm putting a piece of paper on top of another paper that's about the same size and I don't have room to have extra tape on the edges. It's important to have page markers, and there are so many different kinds. You could have bookmarks, you could use sticky notes, you can use tabs like the ones I showed you. You can also do something more decorative, like at the top of this planner, I have these decorative paper clips. So for example, here's a little mail one, so I know that when I need to turn to this page, I have this bookmark there and I can just flip right to it. I've also, if you want to get decorative and creative, I've used paper clips and attached a little charm to the end, so the paper clip stays flush against the page and then the charm hangs off, and you can use different charms to indicate different information in your planner. You're also going to need a place to put loose paper, like little notes that you write that you want to add into the planner but you haven't had time to do that yet. So you could just stick those notes into the planner and they're hanging out there loose. There's a chance they'll fall out at some point. You can also make sure you have a planner that has pockets in it so you can put those notes in the pockets. Erin Condren has these pockets here that you can stick into your planner if you have a big one like this. These are pretty nice. And it's nice that they're clear so you can see through them. Or you could just have a separate folder that has pockets in it for your notes or your big papers. Sometimes I'll type my notes out for a video, print it, and then I can handwrite extra notes on it and I keep that in that folder. Okay, now let me show you my planner's quick overview here. I'm not going to go in detail in these, and show you what I use them for. My Louis Vuitton Agenda GM size, I use this as my daily planner, so I have the week on 2 pages. I have a vertical format at the top. In the top 2/3, I have my to-do list for work, for teaching. In the bottom third, I have my to-do list for YouTube. And this isn't just what I'm doing each day. I'll start with a long list. If you flip through this, you would notice it's very long over here and it gets smaller as it goes by. That's because those are my goals for the week, and I move them over. The things I haven't done, like on Monday, I'll move to Tuesday, and so on until they all get done, or most of them get done. I also, as you saw, track package deliveries down here, and there's a column over here in a list format that I have been using for items that I need to purchase. And those could be things I need to purchase that week, or long-term things like I needed new tires. Finally got those the other day. And of course, I also keep track of important events that are happening on those days, holidays, regular calendar stuff. And this is where you'll notice that I have gold headlines and gold little circles like bullet points, and then all my writing is in black. So that's very simple, and that's what works for me. It doesn't take a lot of time to do. Just grab the gold pen, draw a little circle, and write everything out in black. It's simple format, works very well. My Agenda MM sits on my desk. That GM goes with me to work. In this one, I have the business cards for some of my luxury sales associates, and I have my online tracker where I keep track of online purchases and delivery dates. And then behind that, I have the Louis Vuitton 2020 agenda pages that were gifted to me by my friend Jill. She's JillyBunny8 on Instagram. I'll link her below. And I haven't figured out 100% what I'm going to put in there for this year, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. In my Louis Vuitton desk agenda, which I just purchased a few months ago, I have two different planners. This first one right here, a happy planner with the ring bound system. This is all teaching notes. I have divider tabs for different sections of things, and I also have these bookmarks with tabs on top. And each page has a title and then notes about whatever that title is. And then my second book at the back is a Stalogy notebook. This is on a grid system, and this is mostly YouTube notes. I did start the planner with food tracking, like weekly meal planning too, but once I went back to work, I felt like I didn't have time to do that. So I've not done that in a long time. See, I'm not perfect. All this planning, I'm pretty good about everything else, but that one is a real challenge. I have these little tabs from Erin Condren, I'll link below, that have the months on them, and you just stick those on wherever you want. So each month has a new section. That helps me keep all this organized. And then for each month, I showed you this recently, I have a divider page for the month, or divider spread for the month. So I have a decorative piece of paper. This is where I spend time. The rest of it, like you saw, is the black and gold. This is the only place that I spend time doing any kind of decorating. I have scrapbook paper that I've cut to size. I've used the double-sided tape to stick it in, and a piece of washi on the edge there as decoration. I've put the monthly tab, and then I have a tiny calendar page, month at a glance, with important dates circled and then what those dates are. I have a quote that's stuck in with washi tape, and I have a place for reflections for the previous month and goals for the current month. I have found this very helpful once a month to go through and do this, reflect, and plan. And that really helps me keep on track and figure out what are my priorities for that month. This big happy planner, 8.5 by 11, is where I keep my ideas for YouTube. So each page has a title, like videos about items from my collection. And then I put sticky notes with individual video ideas. This one is videos about groups of bags, stickies for each idea. And then I can take those stickies when I need ideas for new videos, when I'm planning for the next month. And in this planner is where I have my YouTube calendar. So this is a few years worth of YouTube videos. It's the history of my entire channel. I have tabbed pages that are pre-formatted that came from Happy Planner. And what I'll do is put those sticky notes on the days where I'm making videos, on the days where I publish, and then I can move those around as I need to, or take them out or add new ones in throughout the month. Once I have published a video, then I write it. I put a little gold star, and then I write in black what the video is that went up that day. I've been using this for the last few years, and I recently transitioned that calendar into this Erin Condren notebook. So this is what a month looks like with the stickies on it. This video was already published, so it's written with the gold star and the black ink. The reason I switched to this planner is because that one was just getting too big and bulky. This is something that I do carry to work with me so that I can make notes as they come up throughout the day. And then it has the weeks on 2 pages. And here I'm just starting this new plan where I want to work more this year on Instagram and on community posts on YouTube. So I'll be putting that daily information here. And I'll have my entire YouTube schedule for 2020 consolidated in this one notebook that is smaller and lighter than that other one. I also have a planner for finance tracking. I was using these notebooks for the past few years, and on each page I would list my pay date and then my expenses for that month. But I switched this year to a new system because one of my goals is to focus more on finances and saving. So I'm now in this planner, and in my next video, I'm gonna show you this in more detail. But one thing I wanna show you is a way that I've used a calendar system here. So in this planner, I wasn't sure what to do with it. I showed you this already, it has the week on 2 pages, and those will be great for making lists, but it also had the month on 2 pages with little tabs that stuck out that said the month. So what I did was I tore those pages out and I pasted them into this financial planner. So now when I close the book, I have the tab sticking out that has the month. I haven't put them all in yet because I'm not quite ready to do that. But I have the month at a glance. I've got my payday stickers on my paydays, and I'll be able to track other information on that month. And again, I'll show you that in more detail in my next video. It's a lot, right? Just because I have all these planners does not mean that you have to. And just because I have fancy Louis Vuitton planners doesn't mean that you have to either. You can get binder system planners at Michael's for about $10. These are great little things. I've had a few of these. You can get Filofax planners if you want something that is a little nicer and you can catch them when they're actually in stock, which is pretty rare. You can go to Cloth and Paper. I'll link them below. This beautiful GM size, A5 size planner, binder system, pockets, all kinds of things. Looks kind of Chanel-esque. They even released one recently that's a caviar texture. I found this one at Hobby Lobby on clearance a year or two ago. It's by Webster Pages and it holds a composition book, has pockets, has a place to put a notepad in the back. There are so many options for planners. You just have to find what works for you. And keep in mind that if you decide on something at the beginning here, especially if you're new to planning and this is a little overwhelming, you're not quite sure what to do, you pick a system and it's not working for you, that doesn't mean you can't change it. You can change it. You can change your strategies. You can go through and change anything you want to make it work better for you. But with everything that we have going on in our lives, as busy as we are, it's easy to forget long-term goals. So the key to all of this is to have a system that you want to go back to, that makes it easy for you to go back to and refer to check in on, to review, and to keep you on track. You don't want to go through all this work, make a planner or start making a planner and then never look at it again. The whole point is to keep you on your journey. If you've tried using planners before and it doesn't really work for you, if you're on this channel, I have an idea that may help. It might help you to just have pretty supplies that you want to use because they're so pretty or because they're Louis Vuitton. Maybe this is the time, if you have a goal that you're really serious about and it's been challenging to fulfill in the past, maybe this is when you need that Louis Vuitton planner because you'll want to use it and open it up. Or maybe you just need some really pretty pens or stationery. It doesn't have to be Louis Vuitton. If you want to use a notebook, something bound, Hermes has these beautiful leather covers and they're surprisingly inexpensive on the Preloved market, especially when you compare them to things like the Louis Vuitton planners. I think this was maybe $200. So I mean, not cheap, but compared to the Louis Vuitton and for Hermes. So maybe that would make you want to pick it up and use it. It can also be helpful, like I do with some of my planners, to carry them from home to work and back and forth. It gets heavy, it's bulky, but that's why I have my rolling cart, which I will also link below because it's the best rolling cart I have found. So many of them just break on you. So yes, it can be a lot of work to get started planning for your goal in a way that will make it work for you, but I hope that this gives you some information that will help you along that path. And again, once you have that initial plan set up, if it's in a way that works for you, then it's something that you'll go back to and you'll use, and that will help you. It will really help you on your journey to reach that goal and come closer to your ideal self. If you want to learn more about things like this, or luxury handbags and accessories, and if you want to find out what my big goal is for 2020 and how I have made a plan for that, then please make sure you're subscribed and click that bell notification icon so you don't miss any videos. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic year, and I will see you next time. Bye.